Yeah, okay, time to live free. Plenty goals I'm achieving. Some real life topics and talking financial freedom. Mindset, soul and love, everything in between. This is Freedom Podcast. Tune in, live free. Hey, got my mindset right and I got the drive. Planning one day, no more job, no more 9 to 5. Love, money, mine. Love, money, mine. This is freedom. Tune in, cause it's going down. Woo!
Hi, this is Anna and welcome to another episode of Your Freedom Podcast. In this episode, I interview Leanne Brown. And you may know Leanne Brown from her ex-reality show career with the Real Housewives of Cheshire. But I met her, Leanne, recently and connected with her. And now she is a wellbeing and lifestyle coach. And of course has her own podcast, the Love, Truth, Peace, Karma podcast, which you can find on YouTube. So super excited about interviewing a celebrity. And I know you're going to love this show. So, hi, Leanne. Great to have you on the show. I know you're a busy lady, so it's really good to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for asking me, Anna. So lovely to be here.
So, I know it's fab that we recently connected on Jess's belief coding workshop of 3-day event. And it was such an amazing event. It's kind of like really changed things for me, I'm sure. It has for you as well, but it was really lovely to connect with you then. And, you know, it's nice also because I felt like there was a warmth with you, you know, like you're a very easy, open person to connect with. Having had your history of, you know, the ex-reality TV shows and all that kind of stuff, sometimes when you meet people who have been on kind of TV, there's sometimes a little bit of ego. But with you, I felt this real sort of warmth and down-to-earthness. So it was really great to connect with you.
Thank you.
The Freedom Podcast, the reason I put it together was sort of with my story. I think there's a lot of people that are hurting really right now with everything that's happened with the pandemic. There's a lot of uncertainty, there's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of worry. And I think by all of us sort of sharing our stories, we can just help other people. Normalise whatever normal is in a way. And I talk about 3 pillars: freedom in love, which is around self-care and self-love; freedom in money, which is financial freedom; and then freedom in mind, because cough cough, those 3 pillars have kind of given me equilibrium in my life. Because when I was sort of struggling financially, obviously it was stressful. When I was doing well financially but wasn't looking after myself, there was still that seesaw imbalance. And I think mindset as well encompasses it all. And I know you had a real journey, you know, obviously with your the Real Housewives of Cheshire, which I know, I can't remember actually when it was that you left that show. It was a few years ago now, wasn't it?
Yeah. 4 years, I think it's coming up now. Yeah. I did the first 6 series and they're on series 14. So they did one a year for the first 2 years, and then they've been doing 2 a year since. So yeah, so 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Yeah, so this is the 4th year.
Wow, God.
Flies.
It does fly.
Back on it, aren't I, this season?
I know, yeah. Which you can share all about that in a moment, because you may look like a really kind of gentle person, but actually quite a tough nut, really, from your comeback. So yeah, exactly. So I know that you focus a lot on well-being. You've got your own podcast, which we can also talk about. And you know, I see you as a really sort of big influence as well from looking at your Instagram. Even though you got shut down not long ago, but you still really, you know, you've kind of got back up and going, and you've got another great kind of Instagram page going with a lot of engagement. How did kind of, like, when you look back over the years, how did you get to sort of this point? How did it all start from like going on the TV and getting to the point of really sort of focusing on people's well-being and mindset? And how did it sort of all start, really?
Well, so the show that's why they say, you know, no regrets. As tough as it was at times, and as heartbreaking as it was for the breakdown of relationships with the friendships that I thought were genuine on that show, this, when they say everything happens for a reason, it definitely does. And I was put on that show for a reason, to show me the things that I needed to see about the people that were around me. So that was a huge awakener for me, because I think I'd always sort of took a step back and always been drawn to really strong women in my life, or especially through that period. And it was almost like, I mean, I hate using the word, like it was very, I don't know. I was gonna say, when I look back and I watch it and I remember the manipulation and the control and everything, it was like a relationship with a man. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
With a boyfriend and girlfriend, but it was female and female, and it was yeah, just how blinded I was to that whole scenario, and the realization of it, and coming away from it and realizing, right, I have to get out of this show because it's not good for my well-being, and that was a huge step. But I know that the last sort of series, the last year, I'd started writing things down in a book and writing self-help journal and a little bit about my story, and that continued as I left the show. But when I did leave, it was like, right, I really want to immerse myself into something that really resonates with me, to empower me and empower the women, because it was such a difficult space to be in. It felt like it was just constantly like women dragging each other down, and it was very disempowering. So when I left, I got involved in the charity One Woman at a Time, and then began to finish writing my journal, which I then released the following year, which is called Grace, Gratitude, Grit. And yeah, then going to Kenya and helping the women from the charity, and that helps women that are subject to female genital mutilation. And again, it's all about women. It's all about raising awareness for women, and this bubble that I'd lived in for so long, like the WAG bubble, then the Cheshire housewife bubble. It's exploiting wealth, and the parties and the lavish lifestyles. And I completely did a full U-turn and went through myself into going to Kenya and really seeing how people live on the other side of the world, that it's it's really difficult to see that, and to know that people live like that. It was such a humbling experience. And then coming back, that just continued then, and I just began doing more of the meditation, and starting to the journaling and all the rest of the stuff that I was writing about in my journal, and how things had helped me. So that was sort of the beginning of it, really. Like the end of the show was sort of the beginning of who I am now.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting because I think women can either be really bitchy together or really supportive and empowering. And I think, unfortunately, sometimes, like just speaking to other people, I've never been on TV, but just speaking to other people that have been, it gets competitive and ego, and there's that kind of maybe not people living in their truth really so much. And like you say, competitiveness and all that kind of thing. I can imagine it, even though I've not experienced it. And actually, whereas like the general public probably perceive people of having this amazing life, we know that when we've seen other celebrities that have gone down alcohol or drugs and actually gone into destruction, because obviously they were deep down, they're really suffering, but they can't really be themselves. So it's interesting how that was sort of like your awakening, wasn't it, really?
Such a fickle place, like TV media, and you learn that very quickly, and also the social media aspect of it, and it can be really good on one hand, but it can be really, really bad and detrimental. I mean, we've seen like the people that have been in the public eye that have it's been fatal for them, unfortunately. So but it also helped me gain a thick skin for that as well, because very quickly I realized that you can't be liked by everybody, even though that I was being myself, and you're not everybody's cup of tea, but
exactly, yeah.
And no matter how hard you try, then everyone's just got their own opinion, and when you put yourself out there, they're not afraid to throw that opinion onto you, and you've kind of got to suck it up. But the one thing that we do is, like, you can see 100 good comments and you want one bad one, and you will focus on that bad one, because that's just how we're wired, isn't it? And it's learning to detract that, deflect that, so to speak, and understand that the people that are writing the comments and the hate on there, I learned to have a real sense of love for them, because they need it most. They need it more than anyone, because they're the ones struggling to have to want to do that to somebody else. It's never about you, it's about them, isn't it? Like when you're in an argument with somebody, it's like it's always about,
it's also an insecurity on their behalf, isn't it? It's an insecurity that comes out in some other kind of blame or anger, or just like you say, just they're unhappy in their life. Because I've experienced it just by working online and being an online coach. And like you say, you're not everybody's cup of tea, and you have to learn that. I'm curious, what were you doing before you went on the show?
Well, I'd started sketching to do a kids' clothing range, and that's one of the reasons why I agreed to go on it, because I thought it's a great way. So it's a great way of promoting it. And obviously my mum didn't want me to go on it. Wes didn't want me to go on it. Obviously, you've seen all the other housewives. They're like, oh, it's all bitching, it's all arguing, like you don't want to go in there and all the stuff. And we was assured by the production team, it's about empowering women and showing what you're doing in your life and stuff. So I was like, well, I'll just be myself. Like, they can't edit my how I am, sort of thing. Or how wrong was I? But I mean, I still feel I come across well on the show. Like, I still feel like I was true, but obviously some little looks that they edit and stuff like that. But I was doing, so I wanted to do, I got to the point of, I just really wanted to do something for me. My kids were a bit older. Lola was still young, but I just thought, I just want to do something for me, create my own career, because I'd been a mum. I did beauty therapy before I got pregnant with Hallie, and then I worked there for a year, then I got pregnant, so then I left. And I enjoyed being a mum. I enjoyed being able to, like, I still can pick my kids up, drop them off from school, and be more hands-on, whereas my mum had to work 3 jobs because she didn't have the luxury of not working and being at home for us all the time when we come home from school and all the rest of it. So it was nice for me to be able to do that, but I just got to the point where I feel like I wanted to do more. And actually, this was probably something that made me want to do something for me. A little story of Hallie getting asked when she was younger what she wanted to be when she grew up, and she actually said, a shopper like mummy. So, when they say kids learn from you, not what you tell them, what you show them, who you are, what you do with your life. And that's ultimately what she saw me doing, is shop. And she was aspiring to do that, be like mummy. And I didn't want that for my kids. I wanted my kids to look at me and aspire to be something more than like a shopper, Although it was nice at the time, but I was just so caught up in it. And obviously I've really, that's been a huge awakening for me, the materialistic side of things, and how it's just stuff. And it's like, it's the feeling that you get when you buy it, but it's so short-lived, isn't it, Anna? But actually doing the kids' clothing, the sketching and stuff, and then Lilia had come and she was just drawing, and I'd come over her shoulder and said, oh, what's that you're doing? And she said, I'm doing clothing. I'm making my own clothes up. And obviously that's because she'd seen me do it, And then later on, when I'd written the journal, obviously Lola then had written this lovely little bio about believing yourself and all the rest of it, and doing affirmations and you're beautiful and all the rest of it. And she'd obviously got that from me doing the writing and getting onto what I was doing. So it's so true that children do. They watch what you do. They don't listen to what you tell them, but they watch what you do.
I've noticed that recently with my boys, because you think, oh, they really take, and then you see behaviours and different things, and you think, oh yeah, they are, and good and bad, by the way. Not all good. But so really going on that show was kind of like your awakening, really, wasn't it? Because when you, like you said, Leanne started when she left that show by setting up the charity. Are you still doing the work within the charity? Is it still going on?
So not as much work with them, just because there's not been much going on, but I have just been looking at doing a Tough Mudder actually for them next year, and organising that. We did a walk up Snowdon this year, for the charity at night, so that was good.
Wow.
To watch it. So it started off at night to watch the sunrise. It was bloody foggy when we got to the top, wasn't it? So we didn't see it. But no, we did the Great Wall of China a couple of years before we got to China. I don't think I'll be going to China again, but we did just before. It was 2019, so it was before this started. We went in the September, which was an incredible experience, and actually Hallie came with me as well, which was beautiful. My eldest, so to experience that. But there's we're talking about doing a few different things. Obviously, moving forward, it's just the charity. Actually, we've had they Miss Manchester was supporting them, and the girls were raising money for them. So that's been really good. And actually, the girl that's won it, Miss Manchester, is a Kenyan woman, so she's now being ambassador for the charity.
Brilliant.
So, yeah,
that's really good. So tell us about the boxing stuff. How did that all come about? Because obviously has the show been aired yet? With that?
It's literally the fight's on tonight, so it started last week. So it was like ding, 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 like the beginning, and then they just showed like a clip of it, and then they've stopped it, so they've left it on a cliffhanger. And then it just shows say she's bleeding, but it doesn't say who's bleeding. So it's on tonight. But I mean, I've loved boxing training, and I've done it over the years, like on and off, and actually did it quite a lot during the last year. Just the training, with the gloves and on the pads, but not learning like the technique and anything like that. And it was actually a friend who put me in touch with the guys that are organising it. Just said, like, hear me out first. Would you consider doing a fight? And my instinct would have been like, initially, I remember my friend was doing it. I was like, oh, I couldn't do that. It's funny when it gets like actually presented to you and offered to you, and then I just thought about it, and I thought, it's a challenge, and I did get paid for it as well, so not gonna lie. But it was it's like great to get fit.
So fit from it, I think.
Yeah, well, I was,
anything like that.
Definitely. It was so good getting fit and training. And obviously Anthony Crawler I trained with, so he's like a professional boxer, and he's great, just really had a lot of fun actually with him, but he's just really good teacher. And just, when I got in there, it's like just had his voice in my head, the jab. But
did you feel a bit reluctant about, I mean, I suppose it's not like you were going back to the show as such, was it? But you're making an appearance. Did it feel, seeing as like you'd left that kind of world behind?
Yeah, I mean, initially when they said about the show filming, I wasn't up for it at all, because I'd always said I wouldn't go back on it, and I've been so adamant about that. When people say, "Oh, you go back on the show, I really want you to go back on the show," and I'm like, no, it's in my past. But obviously this came up, and Rachel was under contract, so they sort of said, "Oh, well, yeah, it's going to be on there," and so I just thought, I'm just shooting myself. It's cutting my nose off to spite my face. Yeah. By saying no, and then they were struggling to find another opponent. Obviously, Rachel then would have fought somebody else, and I would have had to find somebody else. Then it was just like I just said, just bit the bullet and thought, right, I'll just do it. And it's actually been quite nice being back and doing a bit of filming, and seeing the production team, because you get such a close bond with them. Do you know what I mean? The cameras and the sound, and they're all lovely team that work on it. So it was nice seeing them as well, and because I didn't have to get involved in any drama, you see.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
you tiptoe back in a way, but without having to stay and just do your thing and then come back out.
Yeah,
it's quite good. So I was thinking, people that could be listening to this, I think it's a really good sort of insight into someone that, because I think sometimes people look at, you know, going on Big Brother or going on what do you call it? What's the Love Island and all that kind of stuff, and actually the world isn't always what you see, what you think it's going to be, sort of thing. But for people who could be struggling right now, that have gone through, maybe lost their job or going through relationship breakdowns, and I keep hearing more and more people struggling with this whole uncertainty with everything that's happened with the pandemic. Yeah, exactly. What advice would you give them from your journey? Because I know it's so easy for us to assume that your life was perfect, you know, with, like you say, with the whole WAG thing and being on Housewives of Cheshire and, you know, having all the financial freedom and all this kind of stuff. But actually, you know, I know, and from what you've said, it wasn't so like that. And actually, you kind of had to go on this journey of rediscovery to really help women. And I know you've got a real passion around helping women generally with their sort of mindset and well-being. Is there anything that you can share from your journey that could help people right now?
Yeah, well, just what I've just had tattooed on my back. The only way out is to go within, and that is, like, honestly, the best, most valuable statement I can give anyone, because ultimately we're just conditioned and programmed to project ourselves outward, and that want things. From being at school, we're like told you need to get a good job, to get a good wage, to then buy a house, to then get a car, and, you know, all these things that we want. And that they're not bad to want them things. It's not bad to have them things, but ultimately it is truly about what's happening in here, because that's the only true happiness that there is. Because them things that we acquire give us a moment of happiness for a short time, maybe an hour, maybe a week, maybe a year, but ultimately that's going to wear off, and then you're still left with you. And if you don't work on yourself and your mind and that inner peace, then, and it is a constant it's a constant job, it's a constant work to be able to do that. It's not saying, oh, well, I've unlocked the key now and I can just be living that vibration continuously, because that's not realistic, because I don't. And I have my ups and downs and my good days and my bad days, but it's just having that
being human, isn't it? That's being human. There's like, you know, like you can be a positive person but still have bad days, not being positive 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
I think people people are too scared to sometimes be themselves, because it's that whole thing of what other people will think, or will people love me? And I suppose it's just like acknowledging yourself as well first, isn't it?
Yeah. It's society. It's all to do. If you think about, I mean, I've done a self-love workshop on the retreat, and I'm going to do some self-love workshops just with the booklet that I've created. One of the questions that's on there is like, who are we? Who are you? You know, why are we here? And two questions that we very rarely sit down and think about, because we just go through the motions of life and on that hamster wheel and on that preconditioning, you know, train of this is what we've got to do, and don't look right, don't look left, just keep going. And, you know, actually just stop for a minute and just be. And when we're born with pure unconditional love. When we die into the light, and we go back into the, you know, when we pass over, I believe that life is eternal. And, like, you know, I don't believe that there's any such thing as complete death. I feel like we are spiritual beings being human, not human beings being spiritual. And ultimately it's about understanding that, or understanding that, and getting back to that feeling of that pure unconditional love for ourselves that we have when we're born, when we're babies, and we go to the mirror and we kiss ourselves because we just see beauty. And we just, somebody says something, or, you know, it's every experience, it's like a battleground of emotions that we're just thrown upon into, isn't it? And then it's the battle then to stay you know, in that love for ourselves. But that's what the journey is really about for me. It's about actually getting back to who we truly are, and that is just pure love.
You're right, because I think also people just don't stop.
No,
as well. They don't get a chance to stop because, like you say, they're on the hamster wheel, or they want to update their Instagram or Facebook status with their matching Christmas pajamas, or it's just like everyone's all sort of pretending that their life is perfect and not actually stopping. Because I was doing that at one point. It wasn't until I do meditation in the bath now, just at the end of my day. If I have a quick shower, I feel cheated. Sometimes do, because I'm just like so tired when I have a shower. But I like to just have like a long bath with loads of bath salts. Sometimes play music. I used to do like a guided meditation, but a lot of the time now I'm just like you say, stopping and focusing on myself and just being, really. But I've definitely learned to love myself a lot more, because I think people feel guilty about loving themselves, or they think that self-care is about going on a spa day every couple of months. But it's something that we need to do on a daily basis, isn't it, really?
Yeah, just stopping and just going within, and just and like, even like, the perception of what is beauty, what is perfection, what is pretty, what, it's all been created by, like, somebody just said, oh, this is what we're going to make and label it beautiful. This is what, if you think about, I did a podcast with Alyssa and talking about cellulite, and how cellulite, when you look at all the old drawings and paintings, women are very, very voluptuous, and they all have cellulite, and it's not seen as something that's like not nice. It was actually, I think she said it was a French guy that basically said it was a disease. So from that point on, then women did everything they could to get rid of it, and it's actually the most natural thing for women to have, and it's not ugly. It's just that we've been programmed to believe that it is.
Absolutely.
The body is beautiful, and the beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And it is obviously looking after our bodies and feeling good for us, but ultimately society has a lot to answer for, like the perception of what is all them things.
It's all about money, isn't it? It's all about marketing and selling things to make us more beautiful, whatever beautiful is. But it's
like, all beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. I've just created a brand called Unapologetically Me, which sums up everything that you just said, because just try and reinforce the confidence and just more women loving themselves, really.
Exactly. That's what the retreat's about.
Exactly. So tell us about the retreat, and then also tell us about a little bit, as we sort of finish off, about, because really you're like a well-being coach now, and you have, I know you share a lot on your Instagram, you've got your podcast, so tell us all about what you're currently doing to help other people and the retreat.
Right, so much. So obviously I've got my With Love Leanne account, so my website there, which I do sell a few bits of subconscious clothing, which is going through a bit of a change at the minute. I'm having my website rebuilt, and it's like I was doing it with another company, but I'm sort of taking it on completely, so that's all being done as well at the moment. So I will be adding some new bits and pieces on there soon. But the podcast is Love, Peace, Truth, Karma. I started it because I got my account taken off me, and I wanted to continue spread awareness of what is going on in the world, the corruption, but also, just genuinely things to help, like you're doing, to help people have an understanding of ourselves and what we can do to help ourselves, and that we are powerful and we are in control, and it's just the connection that we have to ourselves, to source, and the beautiful plants and things that heal us that are from the ground as well, and all the different energy healing, like there's so much. And then also just understanding ourselves more as well. We had Dimple on talking about men, and understanding the relationship between us, and I've had like what do you call them? Nurses. Nurses, midwives.
That one, yeah, I listened to that one. You also had Maggie Oliver on as well, didn't you?
Yeah, exposing all that corruption in the police force, and it's everywhere. And I don't want to, like, that's why I'm not just like wanting to do podcasts about like all the heavy stuff, because although I do think it's important to be creating awareness around it, like I was consumed with it and it was taking over my thought process, like every day, like loads of stuff on my Instagram. Not surprising I got it taken off because I was like full on with it all. That's why I've took a bit of a different approach with this new one. I'm still being shadow banned on it anyways, but I'm just trying to create more of a higher vibration, still trying to spread awareness through my podcast. I've actually just got a guy that's agreed to come on it, AJ Roberts, who's an ex-military. He's doing a lot for this cause and helping, to move forward and getting a group of, ex-soldiers together. And that's the kind of thing that I feel like we need, don't we? But it's about raising the vibration and keeping people's spirits up, because ultimately fear is where the control is, and whether you're frightened about what you're learning about by taking the red pill, or you're frightened just of the virus, do you know what I mean? Or exactly. Out there, the invisible boogeyman. It's still fear on either side of it. So it's about shifting that. And that's what I'm trying to create, a shift to be able to raise people's vibration, to keep them in the love vibration, and therefore away from fear, because in love there can't be fear, it's just pure love, and that as much as we can. And that's exactly what I'm doing with the retreats as well, with Jess. Amazing woman she is, and learning about the belief coding again, just like having that insight, how we can just go into our past, our reflection, and understand ourselves and why we have the triggers that we have, and just fascinating. But the retreat has just been, oh my God, I just can't even words. It's funny, Jack, Jack.
Yeah.
Who's like, it's not even worth explaining what she means by that. I mean, Jack's so funny, and she matter of fact, but what she means by that is that there is no words to actually fully describe the experience that them women had and not we had with them. And it was overwhelmingly beautiful. We were immersed in divine femininity, from support to laughter to crying to screaming to shouting to, it was just the most profound experience, every single aspect of it. And the bond that
swimming as well, I heard.
Yeah, it was freezing. Honestly, I knew it was going to be cold, but it was cold. But it's just so bloody liberating, Anna. It's just so liberating, and just to feel that connection. And when we put the post out, we said it is going to be life changing, and we knew it was going to be good. But like every single one of them women have all said,
I was gutted I couldn't make it. I did contemplate going to half of it, but I just felt like I'd be missing out.
Come in February.
Yeah, I heard you were doing another one. Is that when it is, in February?
Yeah, and then if you can't make the one in February, we're also going to do one in April.
Okay.
So this is it now. We've started a movement. We started something, and we're not stopping, because honestly, just that I found my purpose. I've really found it. It's been a process, and I'm on a journey as well, and like everything that's going on in my life, and doing this is, I said to all them women, they've helped me in ways that they won't even realize also, because just connecting with other women, and we were all so open, and it was just such a beautiful experience. Yeah.
So for people that are listening to this, we'll put the links to your podcast in the show notes and in the comments if you watch on YouTube. And we'll also put, is there a link for details about the retreat, or what's the best way for people to find out more info?
Yeah, so once I get my website up and running from like the new one, I'm going to put a link on there, and also Jess will be, I think because she's got her website, and she'll put it on hers. But we are setting up an Instagram account for the retreats, and we're going to post all the pictures on there that we took on this one. So there will be a link on there where you can just book and pay for your deposit, pay your deposit for this next one, or ask for details and stuff.
So well, in the meantime, they can reach out to you on Instagram if anyone's interested.
DM me or Jessica, obviously the Prodigal Fox, on her Instagram, or Facebook, or my Facebook.
What's happening next? Obviously, you're going to be doing retreat after retreat after retreat, by the sounds of it. But what else are you working on for next year that you want to let people know about?
Yeah, I'm just really going to focus on the retreats at the minute. I've done my, like I said, my self-love workshop. So I'm going to be running just a day workshop, or like 3 or 4 hour workshop locally, I think, to start off with. But also I've just done a shiatsu massage course as well. So I'm going to start doing that as mixed in with the Reiki and stuff. I just think it really complements it, and then the belief coding. So
yeah,
lots of do, and I will do that, like obviously on the side of doing the retreats, but also we've loosely mentioned about doing a festival next year as well. So that's
yeah, really good. Yeah. Inspiring. It's really great to have you on, because I think it's really inspiring for people who make assumptions about people, you know. And we all do that. I say to the boys, you know, make sure you're looking neat and tidy, because people make assumptions when you walk in a room. we all do it. But it's great just to hear how you've kind of been on this journey. I just find it, like I said at the beginning, you were such a warm character, really down to earth, and just feel this really nice connection. Not really known you that well, but just feel comfortable to sort of like express yourself. So I can imagine the women on the retreat just really relaxed and really opened up. So for people listening who kind of really feel like maybe in the new year they need to reset, they want to go on a new sort of journey of self-discovery and finding their purpose and just loving themselves more, you know, exactly. do get in touch with Leanne or Jess about their retreats, the belief coding and all that kind of stuff, because even though I didn't go on it, I'm definitely going to go on one of them. I'm going to check out the dates for the next one. Get my childcare firmly committed before I commit, but it's great to have you on. So the only last question I ask everybody that comes on the show is, what does freedom mean to you? So what does freedom mean to you, Leanne?
Freedom to me means, you know, just the ability to be unapologetically yourself, realistically. Just to be free, to be yourself, to be able to do all the things you want to do without restriction, and have the ability to, is freedom of the mind, because freedom is, it's the invisible cage, isn't it? It's the invisible cage of the mind that stops us doing the things that we want to do, or that we believe that we can't do when we can. So it's just freedom to me is the.
It's interesting because there's all sort of there's lots of types of people I interview, but usually it's either this question, it's either the time freedom that people focus on, or it's the mind freedom and living in your truth. And I'm definitely about living in your truth. I mean, the time freedom is, you know, that is what freedom and flexibility is, but there's a deeper thing for me. Freedom. From my journey, and I think time
doesn't exist. Time doesn't exist to me. It's everything. Timelines are coexisting at the same time, and I feel like we even have the ability, like they're going woo now. I feel like we even have the ability to jump timelines, and even time travel. I think we'll all be able to do that in the future. I think we've already been able to do it, but we've just been conditioned to believe that we can't.
Yeah, exactly. Brilliant. Well, thanks ever so much for coming on the show. Leanne Brown, very inspiring lady. Thank you ever so much.
Thank you, Anna.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Your Freedom Podcast. And don't forget to subscribe on iTunes and subscribe on my YouTube channel. And if you want to get more freedom in your life, then come and join Your Freedom Project Facebook group, which the link is below in the comments section. And I am giving you a copy of my visualization manifesting book. So manifest more freedom in your life and live the life of your dreams.
Hey, thank you for listening. Hope you had a blast. Here to elevate elevate your life. It's the Freedom Podcast. Love, money, mine. Love, money, mine. Wanna see you all win. Wanna see you all shine. Just make sure that you subscribe. Bringing good vibes. Join the Facebook group. Now it's time to change your life. Hope you come back. Right now is the chance. This is an experience. It's the Freedom Podcast. Hey.